So yeah, first question is, I think you guys have already studied about network. You have already knows LAN, WAN, wireless, and what is internet. So definitely, it's that's the basic things we should be aware of, well aware of, and how this security has been implemented on this LAN, WAN, wireless infrastructure. So that is a very important you wanted to know. Or if you want to know the security proper understanding, so this should be the basic, and I'll take a brief on what is network, how the OSI model works, and a brief note in about 10 minutes. So that's what I would like to cover. So as you say, as I mentioned, it's a LAN. It's your local area network within your college network, we can say. And a WAN means you can cover wide area network. It could be like your states, your city, or it could be anywhere, any place in the world. So that's one other means of media transportation. Probably you would be well aware of. Then it's a wireless. So wireless, what we use it in our homes, like on our mobiles or in our Wi-Fi connectivity with your laptops, what we currently using. So and internet is just something. It's a combination of LAN, WAN, wireless. Everything is dumped together, and we'll call it as internet. I can access anywhere, any point of the world. So lease line, as you said, it's just something a direct connection between any two branch office. We can say for example, I have two branch offices for my organization. I want to connect. I want to secure my network. I can buy a lease line. So that has an include performance. So overall, we can call it as a network. So how this LAN, WAN, wireless has been designed. So we cannot call like a cable with a 8 pair of cables cannot be call it as a LAN. So that is something like it's a well designed. It has used a standard. So that is nothing but our OSI model. So OSI model, you guys are very well know it how it works. It has a 7 layers. It starts from physical layer. Could be data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, and application layer. So all this LAN, WAN, wireless, it all comes in the lower part of the OSI model, which is from physical layer to the transport layer. So it is designed to work on the principles where these protocols have been developed. So that you guys have already been studied. So that is one the lower part of layer. So what are those upper layers? So upper layers is your application layer is something which is you are using a Chrome, and we are using a video call Google Meet. That is a application layer application, and that is something like video has been presented, and I'm sharing some data from my PC, and you're able to view all the same image on your desktop. So that is all something like it works on the application layer or the top layer of the OSI model. So all these protocols, it is works is designed in such a way that any vendor or any type of product manufacturers, they're building some device or a means of communication for they will going to present into the share it with the IT companies or with your college, any infrastructure. They has to build the standard with the using the OSI model. So everything works in that fashion. So this is what basic I would like to cover on the LAN side, LAN and basic part of a network. So then comes it's a very important thing. It's like whatever we guys are working, it's based on everything is a logical address. IP address is nothing but a logical address. For every one of you, every system has one IP address. Probably you can just open a command prompt and see, just give IP config, you will have one IP address. So everyone has their IP address. So definitely, and we are connected with the internet, definitely we'll get one public IP address. Okay, that public IP address where we can connect to the entire world. So that is the thing. So Vikyat, I just want to know, like IP address schema, is your students well aware of it, or I can give some basics about public IP address, private IP address importance?
You can give a brief idea about it.
Okay, fine. So basically, when the IP address protocol has been developed, this is like there is a 32-bit data format wherein it's a unique IP address. It's a unique format, and every users will get one unique IP address for their system. That's how the network communicates. Without the IP address, your network won't communicate. there will not be any internet, there won't be any one-to-one communication. Even what we have, the LAN WAN wireless technology, whatever it is, nothing will going to work. So earlier days we have IPv4 address, and nowadays we have IPv6 address. So that's because IPv4 address, if it's going to extend means that something it's getting over day by day, because we do have more number of users across the world, where they are getting one, they are buying the public IP address. So that is every day it's going to exhaust. So now technology has improved so much, we are going with a IPv6 address, which is similar like a IPv4 address format, but with an increased number of IP address where users can get it. So if we say class A, class B, class C, class D, class C, so the IP address schema has been categorized as a class A, class B network, class C network, class D, and class C. So what we as a internet users, we are using the subnet range, IP address subnet range from class A, class B, as well as class C. And class D and class E, there is an IP address that is only dedicatedly using for a defense purpose. It is a reserved IP address schema, where it is only for the purpose of a government defense point of view or research point of view. They are dedicatedly using for that. We as a common users, we are unable to use it. So only from class A, class B, class C, this category we can use the IP address. So let's say again, we have two difference, like a private address and public IP address. What is the difference? Private, when it says private IP address, it's our own private IP schema, where I can use it in my office. I cannot share it with anybody. I cannot communicate with that private address, IP address, with the outside work. That is a private IP address. So what is public IP address? Suppose if you buy a broadband connection to your home, they will give you the public IP address, wherein that public IP, with that public IP, I can reach you from any part of the world to you. It is dedicated for you, and it can be, it is only ISPs can be able to provide it. I cannot just simply use 172.31.255.255 for my system. That's it will not going to work. It's a waste. So suppose the ISP will provide that public IP address to you. As soon as you take a broadband connection, he will assign you one public IP. Automatically it will, your system or broadband router will get that public IP address. So when you started using the internet, if you just go for what's my IP address, it will just show you what is the public IP assigned for you. So similar way, this way it is being assigned for many across the globe. We have crores, millions, billions of people are using the internet. So they have, everybody is assigned with one public IP address. So just in order to reduce the weight, suppose I have an office, I have some 2000 users. I cannot provide 2000 public IPs for my users if they want to have the internet connection, or they want to use any Facebook, social media, any applications. So that is highly impossible. So in that case, we are using a NATing. So that is NATing, probably you guys have studied. It's a network address translator. So which converts private IP address into a public IP address. Before any, you are suppose if you are sending any file to a Google server or Google Cloud or Amazon, if you are doing a shopping, so that will, your private IP address will be NATed. That means converted to a public IP address, and then it will talk to an external world. So that is happening. So without IP address, there won't be any security. There won't be, network connection between anywhere. There is no internet. There is no, kind of entertainment, movies or broadband, anything. Everything will be there. It's a zero, I can say. So that is very important. IP address is a unique, logical IP address. So that's all about this one. So let's go to the protocols and iOS architecture. Uh, so I just need to brief it, because we got to know what is LAN WAN, and now we understand what is IP address, IP address schema, what is private IP, what is public IP. So now just say all these IP address and all these application, how it is interconnected or how it's related. So it basically works on a protocol. Say for example, I want to share a file to a one in a Google Cloud, or there is a server, so I want to dump my data into that server from my PC. So that uses a separate protocol that is called FTP, file transfer protocol. So basically that protocol allows whatever the files or data you want to keep it into the server. So that is something like a FTP protocol. That's something. So then we have a TCP/IP protocol as well as UDP protocol. So that is very important. Like when you understand OSI model, there are two protocols you should as a computer science or information science or IT engineer, they should have a understand like what is TCP or UDP. So transport control protocol, user datagram protocol. So that's a basic how the data works actually. Transport control protocol is something like it's a reliable, and UDP is unreliable. That is something like whatever we are talking, like if I call you on your mobile, what we discuss over that, if I miss one word, it is gone. It won't be retransmitted. So that is our just a best example for UDP. Suppose I'm just sharing my screen. So suppose for a moment there will be a network glitch. So this image again it will try to resend it. Or suppose I'm sending an emails, all of a sudden my internet goes down. So that email will be in the draft, or it will be continuously trying to send the data again. So that is again once the internet is back, it will try to resend it automatically. So that is something like a best example for TCP. Those protocols, TCP and UDP protocols, you are well aware. So for example, we are using so many applications, right? We do use emails, we do use data sharing, we do use watching crickets, movies online on the OTT platform. We do browse a lot of things. So there is a different protocol supporting that application. Suppose I want to drop an email, SMTP. So that protocol it uses. So again, if I want to browse something, like I need to get some data, like information from the college website, yes, that uses a HTTP protocol or HTTPS. Suppose I want to do a banking transactions, I want to send some amount. So again, that will going to use a HTTPS, which is a secured version of HTTP. So that whatever the data, I mean, whatever the transaction happens, it will happen in a secure way. So that is how the protocols is defined. And you can see that TCP/IP protocol suite communication process on the application layer. What all it comes, DNS it comes, for the email SMTP, POP, IMAP. So transportation layer it is TCP and UDP, and internet layer it is IP protocol, which is nothing but our IP address schema. What we define, NAT will happen on the internet layer. So that is a part of OSI model layer on that. So again, we do have OSPF and DHRP. So you guys know it. What is like routing protocols, like static protocols and dynamic routing protocols. Static, we occasionally, like any company, small companies, we definitely use a static routing protocols, because we need to tell the data how it goes to a different branch office, or we need to tell the traffic whatever coming to my network devices, it should reach to internet, how it goes. So we should use some protocols. That is our routing protocols. So FTP, TCP, SMTP, HTTP, these are all application layer protocols, so without which we cannot access any emails or we cannot browse anything. But when it comes for a routing protocols, you want to send that data, whatever emails or whatever the web browsing, it has to use the routing protocols like OSPF, BGP, AGRP. So that's the way. For internet, we are using a BGP, because why we are using a BGP for internet and office purpose? For a smaller environment, we are using OSPF, AGRP, or static routing. BGP is the only protocol which can able to share the load, or which can give the performance in a better way for internet connectivity. I mean, like that can be, what do you say, we can, uh, across the globe they're running a BGP, like so whatever the service providers, we have Airtel here, Vodafone here, then we recently Geo, everybody are, they're all service providers, they're running some protocols, so that whatever we do, voice calls, whatever we do, the data transmission over the internet, everything it runs on the routing protocols, like using BGP, or it could be AGRP or OSPF. It depends on how they configure it. So that's the importance of internet layer protocols. That's the thing. Then it comes to network access layer. We have our PPP Ethernet interface drivers. Whatever I discussed with you guys, like a LAN, wireless LAN, it could be physical cable, copper or fiber cable. Those are all communicates using electrical signals, and it makes use of our PPP protocols at the network level layer and the data level layer. So there's a said, I said, like a dynamic routing, EGP, distance vector. I guess you know the distance vector. What is the difference? Or path vector or link state, whatever it is. So that is being categorized, but the ultimate goal of those protocols is just to make your data transmitted from one place to the other place, or one part of the world to the other part of the world. So, or one place in your say for example your college, from one department to other department, you're trying to send an email, it uses those routing protocols in sending that. So that's all like protocols. So then iOS architecture. So what are the protocols we defined, or what are we just had a discussion now, is basically it has to be dumb, how it works, like these protocols, how I can use it. So we do have a network devices, like we do have Cisco routers, we do have switches, we do have wireless access points, we do have a wireless controllers, we do have firewalls, and so blah 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 blah, so many products. It's nowadays it came to a market. So these protocols will be built using a iOS. What is iOS first of all? So like for our Windows machine or Mac, we have their own OS, Windows 7, Windows 10, or a Mac OS, something like that. So for a network device, we do require a OS architecture that is called iOS, Internet Operating System. So that is like we'll call it as a iOS protocol. I mean iOS image, which will going to load into a network devices on routers or firewalls. I will either call it as a firmware also for a different products. These iOS carries the set of whatever you guys in the, or like once you join to the as a join as a developer or a testing platform or a service provider platform, once you started coding and you will try to build a OS using the codes, that is the entire codes which is which supports all the protocols, all from application layer to the physical layer, whatever the protocols you just design it, or you can code it, or you altered it, or use the existing protocols already running in the market. So those entire protocols is terms as a iOS image. So that we're going to put it as in the router. So the network devices is nothing but an outward platform, but it needs some OS to work. So that is how we're going to integrate into the uh, network routers. So this is just basic. I've covered what is like how the LAN WAN works, what is the importance of IP address, and how the protocols works with a different layer of OSI models, and then the routing, how what is the importance of routing protocol in communicating the data, in transferring the data. That's it. And then next comes to the, I'll carry up the things for security in the next slides onwards. So now what is security in a simple form? Like anybody from anyone, or like just like generalized term, whatever you can define it as a security. Would like anyone like to speak up, guys? Am I audible, right?
Sir, you are audible.
Okay, I'll carry on.
Yeah.
So security is just a shared responsibilities in a simple terminology, I can say. So say for example, I'll take an example for your college only. Say as soon as you enter a college, and you should safely come out to and reach back to your home. That's what I can say is security. So this security term, I can use it for your it could be like a person security, or when it goes to IT, it's a data security. When it goes to hospital, it's a health security. When it goes to a defense or anywhere, it's our people security, or within a country, it's my people citizens security. So that's a security is a general term, and it says it's a shared responsibilities. When I say shared responsibilities, for example, in once you enter into your college, your college security guards will be there in front of the gate. They will identify you whether you're a college student or not. Then they will allow. So anybody, any type of unknown persons, they can't simply enter for a time pause or making a gundaism or anybody. They will be stopped at the security level. So that is something like that's a security meaning of a security. It can be explained. So as soon as you enter to a department, you should go to your department lab, or you cannot enter into a mechanical lab, or it could be electronics lab or electrical lab, because you're not authorized a person. What is the need you going there? So it's something like you don't know the whatever the policies, what electrical students are following up, like wearing shoes or touching any type of electrical devices. So accidentally you might touch it, but that shows that there is a lack of security in the electrical department where you can enter, and that has caused a risk for your life. So that is a best example for security, I can say. So in simple terms, whenever say it's security, it applies for all the field. It could be transport, or like whenever you buy a car, the first thing is everybody says how is the performance, how is the security features, like that. Suppose if there is any minor accidents happens, the person sitting inside will be should be secured. So that is a good example for security. But I can define, but for IT security however I want. And for automobile security, when in that automobile cars or lorries or buses, whatever it is, explode into a market, they should have followed some security principles. They have done undergone a lot of security tests. There has been a lot of governing bodies, or a lot of acts has been passed to follow the standard. It should be of this standard. Before it comes to a market, it should be tested. It should be security tested. Crash test or a performance test, everything they will do before it be released to a market, something like that. So now just try to cover up for the IT security. We do have for IT security, there is a we do follow certain types of standards, and certain type of acts being followed, like what is the minimum requirements, what is the guidelines, what is the baselines. When I start a company, I have a data center, how I can secure my data, how I can allow access to the data for only the authorized users. How do I any modifications I want to do a data, or any type of service I want to give for a IT data center. How do I who are the only administrators who can able to access or modify the details. So basically it all depends, like it should be in a safe zone. I cannot just leave it like that. Anybody can come, authorized person or unauthorized person, they can just simply go to a bank, or they can take money and come back. That is not followed. Like once you have a bank account in that bank, you have a authorized person to enter to the bank for any type of queries, or withdrawing money or depositing money. So without any account, what is the need you need to go? So but only who will be going inside the bank? That will, like, they're planned like a thieves, or attackers. They want to get inside and want to steal something. It could be data, or it could be money, or it could be anything. So that's like any companies or organization or college or hospitals or a defense system. So everybody has defined their own security policies, and that is how its importance is. The first point says it's a security compliance helps you avoid fines and penalties. Say for example, you started a bank and you have not followed any security measures. Yeah, that's definitely because there will be a government's, or law will be there, and codes will be there. They're going to penalize why you are not maintained any security. So that's very important. You should follow the security compliance whenever you start an organization, as per the standards or any type of acts applicable for you. Whether it's a hospital, they has to follow the keeping the personal information, patient's personal information secret. They should not share with anybody. Once they share it, that is like a break. They're going to break the law, and they will be penalized. Suppose if the patient goes to a court and he can just ask for the compensation, the hospital has to pay the fines and penalties. Even they will put extra penalties for not following the security features in the organization. So that is one thing. So that should be the following thing. Second is security compliance protects your business reputation. Definitely, it will. That's a major impact on the reputation. Be it any organization like banks, or like say for example, you have lakhs of people have deposited money in one of the bank, and they had a data security breach, and some hackers, they stolen all the data, or they damaged the entire data, and bank doesn't know how much balance you have kept in their bank, or how much loan you have taken from that bank. So loan people, they will be feel happy. They won't worry. Yeah, let it go. It's a good thing for me. But how about the people who have deposited their money? They will go for a huge loss, right? If they place like lakhs, crores together, and they say they don't have any data. And so that's something like it's a reputation, right? Like well, again, if they rebuild the bank with a complete security and all, people like next time they will think twice or thrice, or they will straight away deny that they will not going to use deposit any amount in that bank. So that's very important for security compliance to follow which will protect the business reputation. There is one simple example I can say. So the next thing is like security compliance enhance your data management capabilities. Yes, of course, because for example, I have a data center. I'm not following any security compliance. I have one single server where all the database is there. Suppose for some reason it is got corrupted or it got lost, so I don't have any more data, I don't have any backup. So definitely what security compliance says, you should have two more servers. Was as a redundancy point of view, you should keep one data every day or like every hour, or how critical it is, like every minute the data should be dumped to another server. So in case the primary data server corrupts, against the data management should be, data should be available in the other server, I can just put it back into a production. So that's another importance, benefits following the security compliance. So puts you in a good company. Yeah, definitely, like you're doing some business, like if you say shares, like Infosys, TCS, or any many IT companies or banks, their shares are growing day by day, and that's because they are giving a good service, and they are good in achieving the goals or mission of their organization. Definitely that will going to get a good name, and the people get a trust to invest. So that's basically the financial condition of that company keeps growing, so that will go into build a good reputation. So they should follow the first three security compliance in order to make a name in the market. So it yields a promote operational benefits. So operational benefits in the way, like, yeah, we do have servers, we do have network devices, we do have user systems. The compliance says your system should be capable of at least i3 generation processors, or it should have 8 GB RAM, or it should be having some 500 GB hard disk. And the user point of view, it should be fast. The Windows 10 should be used, like antivirus should be used. That way they will say. So like whenever, like suppose if you're filling any online application, and that it keeps failing, or your system is too slow, then you can't submit it on time. Maybe today it's deadline, or maybe in 1 hour it is deadline. If you don't do that, so then you cannot, it's something like you're ineligible for that no, application, or like whatever the jobs, or it could be like of anything. Say in the banks, they say system is slow, I cannot give you, I cannot withdraw money, something like that. Or if you go to ATM, it is not the, the system is not working, and it is now you're not able to withdraw money. So those are all like organization units where they are placed across the globe or across the country. That's something like a operational promote operational benefits says something like that. This compliance says you follow this, it will be good. So then it's something like if you are getting if you go to any ATM like SBI ATM, every time you are not getting a money, then you will think about changing the account, or you might open a new account in a different bank. So that way it will go into, if they say security compliance is there, they will say you should maintain like this, you should follow this, so that will going to help the customers. So that is one thing. So effective security compliance enhance company culture. So like whatever we defined, it is all like interrelated. Company culture, like it could be handling the customers, it could be attracting the business partners, it could be attracting the investors. So that way it will going to help a lot. So if we follow this security, that is what, like a last couple of decades, whatever attacks has been happened to many companies, these are all the impact, or like a lesson learned for all the companies, we can say, following the security compliance. Supports access controls and accountability. So that's it. So this is a high level security importance. I'm just telling why we need a security in an organization, or like in a college, or whatever it is, because nowadays its current word is everyone is online, everybody is doing a shopping online. I mean, not everyone, like 50 to 70% of the total population is going for online. Your classes is going online, and suppose if somebody hacker sits in your company, or like a Google server, they just hacked and they are breaking your sessions. It's something like, it's a kind of a violations, not violations, it's something like you're not getting a service. There is no availability of your class sessions, and which will go into directly or indirectly affect your college studies, something like that. So who will going to manage this? So for example, we have a IT security head, like we have a chief information officer who is well versed in security compliance things. He is aware of how the entire IT infrastructure works, how is the policies can be do, security policies can be implemented, access controls can be implemented, how is the entire infrastructure made available. So you should have a vision about 360-degree, like how it functions, the how the organization functions, what type of cyber attacks will happen, what type of threats it will cause, what type of risk it will carry, how it will going to damage the IT infrastructure, and how it will going to impact the organizations. Like so that way he will think, and like what will be the impact, and he will be the advisory person for the management or board of directors, like in like who will be advising like these rules and regulations, standards, change process should be followed so that we can make the entire data available. So that way we'll going to chief security officer or like a security expert working in an organization or a team will going to work along with the management bodies or this one. They will just keep updating them importance of security in a 360-degree view. So for example, Flipkart and Amazon, like we got a sale for last couple of days. Suppose if Flipkart is down, so there will be a huge loss for them. It's like hundreds of crores every day. So 3 days it's gone means they have lost 300 crores some business of that. So that is how like if we have a proper security maintained, then that will be good. So now we'll get to a security where it's implemented. So mainly IT industry, because for them it's very critical. They do handle a lot of projects across the globe. It could be any type of projects like construction, it could be construction, or it could be automobiles, or any type of software products. Ola, Uber, everything is a software applications where that's IT industries are developing, testing, and released into a market. So they do a lot of on the back end. There will be a lot of IT infrastructure involved, a lot of resources involved. So for them to manage the things, they should have a security to be widely used in IT industry. So banking center has already explained why it's important. Nobody can access any bank servers from outside except your bank accounts. So if I get access to the banking server, I can change the database and I can destroy the data, or I can easily transact some amount to my account or unknown account. Something in that way we can do. So educational institutions also very important. Nowadays they started using. Earlier days they were not at all using IT infrastructure, but now they has to manage a website, something fee payment, or student database, like their grades, their marks, everything. So everything is coming into a educational institution where security is also important, and the IT infrastructure is also coming overly used. So government organization like defense, HAL, BHEL, they do work on a lot of designs with respect to aviations or like missiles, something in that. They cannot do it on a paper and pencil. They obviously they has to do it on some application, and they has to save the data within the organization where no other defense, say for example some hackers or a different country enemies, they try to access the servers or applications. They want to steal the data because they want to do a copy paste. It's easy, right? Somebody studies a whole year and he writes, and somebody just easily copy that in an examination without doing anything. So that's something like it's a security breach. So that to avoid that situation, even government organizations also following the security measures, like using a lot of firewalls, network devices, local system antivirus, and other security policies and other biometric concepts they're using. So automobiles and products are also widely used. Then hospitals and research center. Sorry, we have another 15 minutes. I'll try to complete fast. Okay. So hospitals and research center, transportation industry, cloud solutions. Nowadays, you have heard about cloud solutions. So cloud solution is nothing but your data center, but it's a very huge data center where we can lot of customers, or kind of a virtual data center is created for individual users. In a simple way I want to say, which is highly secured, and they are following all the security things like that. And it comes to end users. Say for my system I have installed an antivirus, for your system you have installed antivirus. So that is something like personal computers also we need a security, because any hacker can just inject any type of bot or something virus in your system. It will going to it won't power on, or it will be completely crashed. So to avoid that, we as a person, as a personal computer or laptop, we should have some security things installed, I like that. Okay, so now what is we talked about security. What is the benefits of implementing security in building an organization image or reputation, or is the bringing up their investors or investor financial conditions? Those are all the things. So now I can say CIA. Why do we need to secure the data? See, anybody let anybody can take the master details of mine, and he can take it away. What is the loss? Let him take it. What is the I don't do, I don't have any impact with that. He might going to take that masked information or take a photocopy of it. You can put your his name, and he can just going to bluff or take some other opportunity or anything, something like that. It could be any type. So what is the thing is, the main purpose of security is the three reason. It's a CIA concepts. It's a confidentiality. Confidentiality is something like I'm getting a business proposal with a less quote, and I don't want any competitor who can just get to understand what is the quote, business project quote I have mentioned, so that he cannot just he can quote with a lesser price and he can get that project. So that is kind of a confidentiality. Integrity. So when I say integrity, say for example you have uploaded photos to your Google Drive and you want to, after 1 year or 2 year, you want to download it back, and if that image is completely altered, then there is no point of that integrity is not there. And that is the best example for integrity, that is modified, or the data is got corrupted. So something like that, that like upload is fine, but you cannot download it, it's all completely damaged. So that is not there. Availability. Suppose the whatever you uploaded in the cloud or Google Photos cloud, then your fine, like 2 years you have paid some money, you have paid some 5,000 or 10,000 for that storage services, and you are unable to take it back. So then it's not available, and you won't believe Google. You will try next time when you want to dump some data or like any important information of yours, then you will think about something else, storage options. So then it is something like that for a personal, any person. Like for me as a IT company, for me I'm giving a service, Flipkart is giving a service, Ola is giving a service, and Uber is giving a service. So that is something like they do maintain the same concepts, like how they can maintain the confidentiality, like when a person this day where he traveled from where to where, others cannot able to view that data. And suppose Uber service is down, then a lot of a lot of cab drivers and cabs, they will be something like they're without job, they has to stand. So they won't get business for that day, they won't get the food and butter for the entire month, like if it is down for some days. So that is something like our daily needs is something suffocated, or it is something like unaltered, or it's something like depressed, something it will go into one or the other way, it will going to impact on a daily basis. So something like that, that is the thing. Availability. So what are the possible things on the those services will be impacted? It could be security, like security breach will happen. There will be from the phishing they will do, they will push something on the in your email, they will say the .exe file one, as soon as you click it, it will just install in your system and the entire data gets corrupted. Or your banking, you're doing a banking transaction, or like they will be redirected to a different website which looks similar to your online banking, like SBI. They will steal the user ID password. So that is another thing. And like if once you're in office, and they will they will know your username password, and they want to steal something, they will log in with your system, they will get the data. So many types of things, threats will happen, security compromise will happen, crime will happen. uh, that's like getting hacked, or cyber attacks, or business impact, security, everything will be destroyed. That is something like a security breach is happening, we can call it as overall way. So now, oh, how do we manage, like earlier days, see, you guys are very well known in 90s and all, we don't know the concept of mobile. Everybody never imagined we'll get a mobile, we can speak, or we can use it for a banking purpose, or we can use it for a media, or we for watching movies or playing games, and nobody has imagined. So decade by decade there will be a lot of improvement in innovations and technologies, or like something like that. So for the last 2 decades we got a mobile, we got a system, artificial intelligence, be it anything, robotic, anything, everything. But thing is, humans are also very criminals in that perspective. Somebody has invented something, but they try to misuse it. So some type of, that is something like and the IT field say, uh, they do try to destroy things, or they do try to hack something, they do try to get some information, and they will going to misuse it, or they will try to get the transfer the money without getting into your notice. A lot of things is happening. So that's mainly the easy way is IT attacks. Earlier days we don't have this type of technologies, mobiles or online transactions and all. We don't know what is cyber threats or what is attacks. The earlier days there were physical attacks only. They just, whenever you're walking somewhere with the money, they will observe you at your house or banks. They directly hold with knives or guns. They easily steal the money with you, or like gold, so whatever important golds or something like that, cash or in that way. But that trend is over. We hardly see any type of attacks like that. Thieves coming and asking for money. They're coming and asking for more, so any type of gold or something. Maybe gold in nowadays, that too very rare cases. But cyber attacks are more, because there will be hackers who are sitting just like, they destroy the data and they ensure that they get some money, or like they feel it's very crazy to do like PUBG games. They're very much crazy about like that, doing that things. So so these cyber attacks is something like, we have a systematic representation like what all the methods they can do. They can spam, they can identify a theft, they do inject a malicious code or virus trojan horses into your systems or into a bank servers or into any IT organization. Phishing attacks they do in email. They will send some malicious software, .exe files. They do spy on it. They ensure that your company website is not at all available for anybody by just bombarding a traffic to your website from one or multiple system. That is called DOS attacks or packet spoofing. Like when there is IT packets is getting is there, they will try to spoof the packet. They will get the copy of it. So then recently, you guys know ransomware. They won't steal any data. They won't corrupt anything. They ensure that your important files is inaccessible. So they just encrypt it. That's it, over. Encrypt. They will say transfer bitcoins of amount, and we will be like, we'll unlock it. So that is something like as I said, like thief, they put a knife and ask you money. This is an alternate way. This is a technology advanced way. They will say, they will encrypt the data, they will ask you money. If it's very important for you, then definitely you're going to spend 5,000, 10,000, or 50,000, whatever it is. You will just directly transfer. For you, data is important. So that's how these are the cyber threats, type of classified ways, and they try to impact to the any organization or any services. So measures we have done, are going to cover in the next slides. I'll give you in brief: access controls, communication protection, physical and environmental protection, system protection, continuity planning, incident reporting, legal compliance. So far, whatever I covered, it is all security measures I've already discussed. Access control is something like, I can put a policies on the firewalls. Communication protection is something like, I can say only these authorized person can able to access the data. Physical and environmental protection, I can say that I can deploy security. Say for example, security for my office, security for your colleges, security for hospitals. So they will just verify whether he is the right person, he can go get inside or not. He is employee or not, we can allow him. He is student or not, we can allow him. So environmental protection is something, I cannot just put a data center near to any lake or near to type of any places where risk areas where they do manufacture some fire catching uh, chemicals, something like in that area. I should protect that. If there is any flood happens, that should not going to impact my data center, that should not going to impact my servers. Like you guys, that's something like, it should be well planned. So that is also one of the security measures, we can say. Environmental protection. System protection is something like, you guys need to follow the password protection policies, system locking, and should not share with any password with anybody. That is another thing, because your next person is a friend to you, but you doesn't know what is intention in your mind, in his mind, so, or in her mind. So she might stole something from your data, or she might something, some junk emails from your email ID to some person, or some important person, something like that. So that is all something like it's a threat. So continuity planning is something like, say for example, Bangalore nowadays, it is a flood. Say I have my data center, it's gone down, flood, it's all water inside my data center, it's gone. Now how do I give the service for my customers? So I want my business to be running. I don't want to take this risk or my reputation getting damaged. So in that case, it will, I do have one more data center at the Mysore office, or I can put it anywhere in the world, or I can put it in the cloud, AWS cloud. So in case this main data center goes down, I'll just ensure that my administrators or my technical resources work and ensure that they will give the services. So business runs as this with the second data center. So incident reporting is something like we do a lot of, whenever there is a virus attack on your system, you'll report to, report to your administrator or somebody's. They will say they will raise a ticket incident. That way they will manage on a year. They will going to report to IT governance in an organization on this type of attacks it happened and this type of incident it happened, something like that. Then legal compliance is something like they do investigation. They just hackers and all, they usually they won't leave that. They will try to find what is the IP address of that user who try to remotely access something, or he is within the organization, or is something outside the organization. The based on the logs, whatever security devices generates. Now we have advanced security devices in everywhere it's implemented. We are able to pull from which person, which location, who has done this attacks or destroyed the data. We'll do the investigation, we will find him, and then it goes to a legal compliance as per the whatever the acts or laws defined. Like he can be jailed, or he can be terminated from the office. If he's an outside person, he can be jailed, or based on that, if he's an employee, he can be terminated, or he can be warned, or he can be trained, something like that. So these are all the cyber threats measures we do. And this is just a graphical view. On the right side, computer audit is something like we do auditing, IT auditing every 6 months, 3 months, internal, external auditing every year. So information security management is something like management defines this is my important information. I don't want this information to be shared by any competitor, or they should get to understand what is how my company works, what is the data involved, what are the application softwares we are using, how we are giving this best services. I don't want get this information to be leaked. So there are many ways. Even I'm working in that company, I can just say I know what is happening inside the data. I can jump to a next company, I can share the information. So something like information should be kept secret. So that is like information security management. It could be my way, or it could be, I can copy it in a pen drive and give it there. I can copy entire coding, whatever one of our resources, our company resources has done it. I can copy it in a pen drive and give it to some other company. I can sell it. So that way, how the IT governance team will define a lot of policies, rules, regulations, trainings they do give, like how this system can be protected, how this system information can be make it available. That is way. Then it is IT risk management is something like when something is happened or something going to happen, how do I plan, how do I mitigate, how do I take a reverse action in stopping it. So that way it is like that. So whatever I designed is something like there are a lot of governing bodies like HIPPA, that's a Health Information Protection Act, US EU Privacy Act, something like I don't want my personal information to be shared with anybody. Say for example, I'm going to Switzerland, I just mentioned like all my details, date of birth, passport details, Aadhaar card, everything. I'll give it to a traveling agency, and that person should not share with anybody until and unless with my concern, and I'm okay for that. Because if they share it and somebody else, they will go into they have the details with of yours. They might either they make forgery, or they might try to call you, and they will try to say take this insurance, take this product, it will be good for your travel, something like that. It will be, you will be getting irritated because you are a busy person on the entire day. And that information, that is something like a privacy act, we can say. That is also important for any company or organization to be follow it. And US federal act, a lot of cases happened in the past, so which is something like they defined some standards. So like payment card industry data, you do a lot of shopping with your debit card or credit card, that should be very safely secured in that Flipkart or Amazon or any type of e-commerce vendors. So that should be like they have defined a standard. Any company e-commerce website, they should follow this standard. They should get the approval. They should implement these security features. They should follow the security features. They are already defined. So that is another thing. So security standards overall, do's and don'ts, they will, IT governance will define like what has to be policies, training, hiring, everything. They will manage it and define the policies. So the overall intention is, the purpose is control, accuracy, security, and consistency. First is preventive. Let's not any risk should be happen. detective, suppose if there is any risk happened, how do you mitigate it? Then corrective, the next action is corrective. Something goes wrong, yeah, I should correct it, right? Now I should not ensure that things will be should not be repeated. So these are all kind of scenario we follow, like something, any risk or threats is happening in an organization. So ISO 27001 controls is something like a lot of IT infrastructure organization follow, with these 14 types of methods to secure the information from a company or organization. So now let's go to just you guys got to understand LAN, WAN, and network connectivity, how it connects across the world using internet or routing protocols, and how what is the protocols, like application layer protocols, network layer protocols, something like that. Then it comes to the next is security. I covered on the second part, like what is the importance of security, how it is, organization mission goals, and their vision should not be impacted, how important the data is covered. So now whatever we defined is on a high level, we got to understand, we got the picture how it happens. Vikyat, is that okay if I continue for another 10-15 minutes?
Sir, you can continue.
Hello, Vikyat, you there?
Sir, you can continue. Am I audible?
Hello.
Sir, am I
Yeah,
audible?
Vikyat. Yeah, you're audible now.
Rudresh, sir, am I audible?
Yeah, Vikyat. I'm
Sir,
just asking, like, can I continue for another 15 minutes? Is that
yes,
fine with?
yes. Please continue, sir.
Okay. Fine. I'll try to complete soon, because I'm unable. This I thought like it will going to have it 1 hour, but it's huge. Security is huge. Probably I can continue in another session, like after another some months.
Sir, no problem. You can continue, sir.
Okay. I'll extend for another 15 minutes. Thank you. So now whatever we defined is just like measures what we're going to have it in an organization. So now what we needed actually, just something like whatever I spoke, it cannot be controlled in that fashion, right? So we should have some physical devices, or we should have a software where does it do the exact duty of security controlling. So that is something like I do have as IT security policies and standards, whatever defined we do. Security policies, I will keep on firewall. On the firewall, I'll define a policies. This user or outside user, what he can access, what he cannot access, what he can be allowed to use it, or what I can block it. Issue or not. So that is what another policies we can define on the firewalls. And security devices, just security devices means we do, it's not just firewall, we do have our system with the antivirus installed. We do have some proxy devices in the environment. We do have a public facing devices where I can only allow a known persons or known IP address of my branches or customers or a business partners. So antivirus on the desktop is another way of implementing a security to protect your data. Proxies and desktop agents. Suppose if you are like a business executive or some company executive, a CEO, or like a CFO or a board of management, you want to go to a customer site or vendor site, and you do need to carry a laptop, and you don't want any of the data gets breached. So still we can be managed remotely by installing a lot of software on your desktops or laptops with agents, proxy agents. So nowadays attacks, we earlier thought like only public remote person, public IP, he can try to access, and he can steal the data or destroy the data. So that is something like nowadays, the hackers are so advanced, they're in so advanced level, they do try to inject any type of vulnerabilities or malware or any type of virus trojans in using the application layer protocols also. Earlier days they were not advanced enough. So in order to stop that, nowadays product vendors have defined a lot of firewalls where it works and controls the traffic using the application layer level protocols. That is thing. We do have web filters and DNS filters in any organization. Sorry, I'll just go on mute for a minute. Okay. So we do have a filter, like any users, they just cannot access anything social media or like on adult sites or any type of hacker site, gaming site. So company has implemented a lot of web filters, DNS filters, where they will block all the categories. So we do have a so what I said, application layer 7 filters. Earlier days we have a dedicated device to do that. Now the firewall which works on the transport layer, layer 4, layer 4 in the OSI model, so which was designed to work in that fashion. Nowadays next generation firewall we called earlier it is was a traditional firewall which was working on the layer 4 transport layer. Now there is a designed and already it is in the market, next generation firewalls, where it works up to the application layer also. It can able to detect whatever the security breaches it should happen on the application level. It can able to scan that, and it will going to block those traffic coming into the network or going outside the network. So that type of firewalls we have developed. So IT security breaches monitors, once as soon as we blocked our security threats in a firewalls or any type of devices detects, it will be monitored, it will be logged, and then later the security administrator or concerned team will going to investigate it, why it's happened, how we can mitigate, or it is intentional, or it's by accident, or it's something hackers are indirectly installed in your company. So those things will be monitored and logged. So suppose that is like something completely on the IT infrastructure, whatever the top portions we discuss, and the final end portion we can see that CCTV, security, biometric. So that is something like CCTV, who comes in, who goes out. While coming in, he has done something, so that can be, the footage will be validated or verified. Securities will be there, they'll check your IDs. And we do have somewhere in biometric where you fingerprints or retinal scan, so that way it will going to getting into that way we can do the additional security for a company. So that's one like major security in a IT organization, it is not inside the organization. So or any threat, type of threat, or whatever vulnerabilities or virus attack, anything happens, most of the cases 80 to 90% cases will not happen inside the organization. That is something like from their employees it won't happen, or like from your college, from your students, they're all in be in control because they knows your college rules and regulations, how they behave. But most of the cases, any type of incidents happens in a college or in a company, any type of data attacks, data breaches, it happened, it all happens from the remote places. So what is the way of entry? The way of entry is from the outside the network, internet connections, or some type of external hard disk, or external, you have a pen drive. So these are the medias where that can be easily infected. So that I don't want because those policies is already implemented. Now I want to secure my data, whatever it is coming over the internet or whatever it is coming over the network. So that is something like firewall we implement. So the firewall architecture, it says something like control plane and data plane. Basically control plane is just for the managing the firewalls. We do have a firewalls, we will just say block this IP address, block this user, or block this social media, block Facebook, block YouTube. So something like I can control that using the control plane. So that on the back end, like there's a separate console where administrator can access that. Whereas the data planes is something like whatever, say for example you're sending 1 GB data over the internet to dump somewhere in the some office or some servers. So that firewall is something processed in the data plane. So that data plane, say for example you have 100 users and you bought one firewall, that capacity is only 100 mbps support. Suppose you're only sending some 10 GB of data, other users will not, they won't get any type of data, and they won't get there will be a lot of slowness, there is a performance issues, even firewall is overloaded. So something like that, they can do the traffic control also, like with using a firewall. Like they just they build a policy, they do traffic filtering, or they can just minimize the traffic rate. They will apply some policies where only 10 MB is allowed per user, something like that. That is one part of it. So that means uh, for example, that's you're working for one business partner and he needs some data, or he needs some you are a graphic designer, or you or something like you're designing something with respect to any type of software, and you by any cost today you have to deliver to him. Suppose if there is any performance issues and firewall is not at all performing well and your data is not able to deliver it on time over the internet, or it, by type of a VPN or type of any type of email, something like that, that is like the availability, what I mentioned, CAA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability is the one area which got affected. I mean, that person is not able to get whatever the data or software or whatever the output like you wanted to share with him. So that means he will be definitely next project he will think twice, or he might cancel whatever the future projects or business coming to your way. So that is also important. So the security, as a security governance, IT governance or security engineer, you should have a defined, and you should be that is something that is kind of a security breach. If you're not everything is done and you're unable to share the data with the partner or with the customer, then it's all it's a breach of security, something like CAA architecture. CAA availability is not there, so definitely your reputation, everything, company good name, everything will be gone. So that way it is something like firewall should be well managed and ensure that administrator, proper bandwidth is available for all the users, and it is, any type of activity can be stopped, something like that. So basically the physical architecture looks like this. It will be having control plane and data plane. I'll just going forward, I'll make it fast so that I can end up in 5-10 minutes. Okay, so definitely it will, data plane will have RAMs and CPUs, where earlier I mentioned iOS. There will be iOS, coded or by engineers. That will be updated into Palo Alto. That will going to function as per the features whatever the iOS image supports. So it will, you can see on the right side, you can see there will be SSL users, security zones, security policies. So based on whatever the coding you have done and you have designed it, according to that, the firewall hardware will support and process the data using a RAM, CPU, something like that. So this is the capacity of this device. So say for this is Palo Alto firewall, and this is one of the best firewall in the market. So almost all the vendor like HP, it could be Cisco, or it could be Checkpoint, or it could be FortiGate, or it could be Juniper. Any firewall, basically it works on the similar architecture with control plane, data plane, having RAM, CPU, storage, and input-output interfaces, 1 GB, 10 GB, 100 Mbps, something in that way. So this is one of the example I have taken. This device has this capacity to 250 Mbps throughput. Say for example, you're an engineer, I mean like you're an IT infrastructure engineer, and you're working in your company, and management asks you like whether this is okay or not. Like you need to analyze the data, how much every day the data traffic goes, it is 1 GB or only 200 MB, less than 200 MB, or it's going to 1 GB, something like that. So in that case, you need to go with the higher end version of the firewall. So you have to tell the management, you should do a procurement, you should design it and implement it, replace this, ensure that there is no downtime. So this is one security firewall. Process the packet, like whatever the packet comes into this firewall, it will be, the packet will be each layer on the OSI model, it will be, it's a layer 4 model. All the, the packet will be teared up, opened up, and it will be processed accordingly with the policies. It will check the IP address, whether this IP address is should be allowed or not. Okay, it should be allowed, you can able to access the outside server. Suppose one IP address, the other user, there is HR team, they don't want any internet access, so I'm blocking it in the firewall. So once, as soon as the internet traffic comes, this firewall will check what is the HR team IP address, and it is as per the policy, it is denied. So as per the policies defined, denied, it will going to block that. So that is how. But on the, I'm not going deep inside the GUI console. Just like as soon as it's something like as soon as you come to your work, you will get to understand, and it takes more time to understand that. So high level, I'm finishing it. So different vendors, throughput capacity, I need 10 Gbps. My company has more than 10,000 users per hour. Every 1 minute they will have 10 GB of data transmission, so I have to go for a higher end firewall. So as I said, there is a traditional firewall based on IP address, it was filtering, but there is a layer 7 layer application, next generation firewalls. Next generation firewalls will do the layer 7 filtering also. Because if, say for example, nowadays we are using all HTTPS only, encrypted formatted data transmission. So it will open the HTTPS, it will do the deep inspection on the layer 7 protocol. They will check any type of attacks, signatures, or any hackers trying to manipulate data as soon as it the users access that website, something in that way. It will do the filtering in that way. So we don't think just a firewall is a hardware device. We should have virtual device also, software devices also. Older days it was a hardware and we have that OI was installed. Nowadays we do get softwares where we can install it on a virtual machine and we can run it as a firewall OS. And sometimes we firewalls also we can do in a 3-tier architecture, standard or distributed architecture, something like that. Suppose I have 100 office, I need to place 100 firewall devices. So something like that. I can manage in one console all the 100 devices, or else I need to remember all the 100 firewalls IP address, log in there. That will be a tough, and we need to keep more resources, 100 resources or 10 resources. Or with one single console I can just manage with a one single or group of 5 engineers, something like that. So where these guys will be continuously monitoring, as soon as data transmission is continuously happening in terms of GB, something like that, everything is getting logged, everything is monitored. Once there is a, suppose if there is any security breach, it will be notified and that event will be generated. That event I'm going to extract it, I will go do the analysis. That once we do the analysis, I'll prepare a security report, which user has done it, what time he has done it, what he tried to access it, or what is the intention, like something like that. That will going to share it with the security incident team. Those teams will reach out to the user. They might ask you like it's accidental or incident, intentional, something like that. So a lot of that way we can do the security management. So these are all the products like in the market nowadays. We do have the major players are Palo Alto, Checkpoint. We do have FortiGate, we do have Sonic Firewall, and we do have Cisco. So something like that. There's a lot of H3C. We have Yamaha, something like that. But Checkpoint of Palo Alto is the major devices because their performance, the device performance is very good, and the throughput is very good, and they can dump any number of policies, something like that. So this is a, just as I earlier explained, like layer 4 filter is based on your IP address, what I mentioned in the OSA layer. That is like a traditional firewalls. Now next generation firewalls will do a filtering based on layer 4 and layer 7. And also we do use the proxies in order to reduce the throughput. Like that proxy, one user will try to access google.com, and that proxy will keep the data. Whenever some 100 users want to use google.com, that it won't be redirected to Google server. It will be the proxy will going to say it, I'm the Google server, whatever the information you need, I'm going to supply you. So that way it will reduce the throughput. So that how the performance is great in the organization. They can do any without any disturbances. So another thing is this traditional data center, say for example, if I have an organization, I would choose one data center, like something like for my one IT room where I can keep ACs, where I can keep the electrical signals redundancy. And we do host racks. We should get the cables, we should place the device, we should do the connectivity, and we should get the internet. And a lot of things is there if I want to set up a data center. And investment, like we do need a lot of dependencies on vendor who can do the racking, cabling, electrical things, and get the physical device, get it mount. There's a do the initial configuration. So those are all like it's a time killing, and I cannot finish set up the data center in some time, I mean like in a short time. And also it's not secured also, we are not sure, because I will not going to stay there. We have to keep and move home. Hackers or somebody, they can come and easily breach it. So now there is a AWS cloud solution on a recent yes, it started. Now you can you have heard about it, a lot of them, like every companies are going to AWS cloud solution. One way it is good, but I'm not sure it is something like how secure it is. But security wise it is good, but availability is very important thing. Availability, if what if AWS data center goes down one region. So again, the security standards whatever we discuss, they also is AWS cloud solution, they have higher level of security. Apart from that, like maintaining the confidentiality, integrity, availability is one part, and maintaining the data, customer information safely, because nobody has visibility about the AWS data center or cloud solution. So we are just going to buy some VPC. Just in this picture, if you can see, it looks similar to a data center in a logical view, but we do pay for it. I don't want to invest on my servers, I don't want to invest on my firewall, I don't want to invest on any type of physical devices, cablings or rags or electrical things. I'm just telling I need one server with this capacity. I can buy it. I can buy it in 5 minutes. I just, they will give us a dedicated VPC. It is something like it's only secured and only you are the authorized person. You can access it for your company data center. I can host all my websites, all applications, all my databases, everything inside that. If I want to control some certain things using a firewall, I can deploy a virtual firewall in there. I can control the things. It is something like I don't have any visibility, physical visibility, and the AWS is offering. We are giving security. We are, there at any point of time your data would not be breached, something like that. So they say it's ensured. And as AWS division is across globe. They have in Europe, they have in Australia, they have in India, they have in America, every day Singapore they have. So but nobody knows exact location where they have built it. So that is the way, that is secured level. So that's a very vast, like very big data center, and everything is they have integrated automation. They have integrated automation, scripting, everything. So for you it's something like a GUI dashboard and you are selecting a server, but that server is automatically built on the website. So for you computer science and information science students, you do get a lot of nowadays it's all, everybody is going for a scripting, TCL scripting or Python or something. You'll on the back end you're going to work for this type of cloud solutions, or something like that. So it's one way good. And main uh, important thing is the cost is it is something like off of cheaper rate is 10 times cheaper to your traditional data center. Like it could be like purchasing, managing with a resource, or just going through a cloud solution. That is one advantage. Probably that will take another class, something like that. So these are layer security profiles in the firewall, next generation firewall. I can do antivirus filtering, like whatever emails comes or traffic comes, I can do the antivirus scanning. Then web filtering, I can say, as I earlier mentioned, I can block certain category of sites like adult sites, social sites, like that. I can allow only education or general category sites, like something like Amazon.com, like that. DNS filter is something like, there is a nowadays DNS attacks also happening. Like you might type SBI.com in a Google. On the first line, you will get a SBI1.com. So something, it as soon as you click, it will look similar to your SBI profile, SBI bank profile. So you'll enter username and password. So that will go into the hacker will get that information, and he will try to your access to your account. So that is something like that website is a corrupt website. So that is, we do have a DNS filtering mechanism where the firewall itself will do. That's a wrong website, we should block it. So that is designed to, I mean, those type of programming has been done and implemented on the firewalls. Application controls, IPS, like whatever the traffic goes in, goes out, coming in, going out, it will do a inspect about each. Even if it's encrypted, it will do the inspection. So email filter it will do. So then additional security mechanism is site-to-site VPN. So something like everybody cannot buy a leased line or something like that. I can, using a internet, I want to transfer a data very securely. In that case, we will use a site-to-site VPN. It does a encryption. Each data will be encrypted because it's going over the internet. Any hacker can, you can spoof it. You can get the copy of the data, whatever is going over the internet. You can connect to the ISP devices. So you will extract the data and you can steal some information. So that way, it is site-to-site VPN is very secure because it encrypts. It will build a tunnel. So it securely encrypts the data, and the other end of the firewall will decrypt the data and it will send to a actual user. Remote VPN, suppose from home we are connecting to our office, we use a remote VPN connectivity. Again, it is tunneling mechanism. With again, it will do the encryption of whatever the data I work. So antivirus is your local PC, and DMZ zone we do create in data centers, like what is production DMZ zone or public zone, something like that. DMZ zone is servers are hosted which are very critical and needs a layer two levels of security or three levels of security. We'll categorize, we'll keep 2 3 firewalls, and we'll do a lot of policies, ensure that server should be accessed only by authorized persons. So that is the thing. And zone is something like production is something like I open for public, they can access my website, anybody can access Flipkart, so that is allowed. Yeah, we can put it in production, I cannot put it in DMZ. So DMZ is something where only the database administrator or a website application administrator administrator can own, only they can authorize to access, they can develop something and they can save it. So that is something like that. So ultimate goal is something like, if I have an organization for a customer, I need to give them a business, or I have to attract the, build a financial condition. That's it. But I want to achieve that is, there is a lot of hurdles. Lot of hurdles is cyber security threats. It could be of any ways, like somebody like you, they can use your, they can steal your employee ID card. They can come to your campus. They will show to the security, I'm the employee of that person. I can come inside. There will be a wireless access point. I can somehow I can crack it and I can log into it. Once I get in, I can destroy the database or anything. So that is one threat. So that is something like your organization IT infrastructure is not available. That is gone. So that is one type of attacks. So next we'll say business continuity plan. Say for example, there is a flood. So somebody has to, so today is the last date for submitting a application for your examinations or something like applying for a job. So today, at any cost, you need to do. Suddenly, there is a flood happened. The data center is gone. So how do I do? So in that case, the data center, we do have a plan B, that is in a different location. Ensure that that is available. So whenever the users wants to do the application filling or taking examination, they can fill it and submit. So using the alternate. So that is also the security breach is protected. Then disaster recovery plan. Something I said, primary server is gone down. It is corrupted. Now I have a backup server. I can extract the data and put it in back to the main server and make it available. So that is one disaster recovery plan. So we do have other methods, but I'm just giving a simple example to make you understand. Security operations is something like, we are continuously, administrators or engineers working for IT. They are continuously monitoring. They are continuously, auditing the data. They are continuously doing the event organization. Ensure that, if one firewall is going down for some reason, or some OS corrupt, or something like there is a bug, some functionality is not working, he should be managing it. Ensure that he can bring down, then and then he can provide alternate solution. Ensure that the servers, application, web servers, database, everything is available. That is thing, that is one in a high level categorization we've done. But overall, if you see the right slide, you can very clearly say is risk management and governance. Something like, what all the risk I can, as a security engineer, or as a, chief information officer, I can see what could be the risk for this organization can comes. And then human factors. Human factors are employees. Either they are the they will going to breach the data, or they're going to share the information. Privacy and online rights is something like, I have some data which I don't want to share it to public or anybody, any competitors. So something like, what policies you can apply to protect the data. Law and regulation is something governing bodies or a government can say, you should compulsory, you should have a biometric who goes into office or coming into office. If there is any fire catch, human should not be, they should not get damaged, or there should not be any deaths in your office. So those laws and regulations is strictly followed. Otherwise, if you are not followed, and if there is any human death happens, or any type of things happens, like with respect to that, human beings, because human beings, safety of humans is the first priority. Be it any company, be any do any business or anything, safety of human is the first thing. You break any laws, that won't going to matter anything. That is the laws and regulation defines. That is the one part of a important goal of the security features. So operations and incident management is ensure that data is available for the required authorized users on time, and any security breaches happened, it will be like managed through incidents. So forensics is something like, something bad happened in your data center, get the data, get the logs, investigate, and give it to experts. They will do analyze it, and they will find out what is happening, and they can catch the hacker there, or they can catch the employee who is denied that policies or be done a security breach. So overall, you can see that the system security, network infrastructure security, software platform security. So anything, any type of breaches as attacks, either physically or intentionally, or through network, or through type of any type of virus attacks, server attacks, is your complete security, which is very important for any organization or for any business organization. So their mission in making a financial condition strong, or attracting investors strong, should be parallelly worked with the security. So with this security breach, the company reputation will be down. That's it. So that's all I want to end. Thank you, Vikat. So I've ended up.